Ah. Welcome to the show. My name is Alex.
And I'm Lizzie.
And we have our special guest, Bob Mann of Bob Mann fame, as well as being Frank, the guy that caused the whole problem and from.
Probably. Yeah. And I just realized just watching the intro there's no pictures of poor Frank Pratt.
It isn't. Well, no. Obviously, you know what? I promise.
Jamie Maguire in there 5 times. No, I didn't.
I don't have Jamie. We did name him Smiley, and we're taking credit for it because we're the only ones that actually booked him first.
So, is that right?
Yeah, we were the first interview ever. That's cool. But before we do that, this is the What Is From cast. And if you guys are so inclined, please hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 510 subscribers by the end of this wonderful show. And like I said, today we have Bob Mann, the myth, the legend. And Bob, did you get to see both of the trailers?
I believe I've seen both of the trailers.
Okay. We're going to run them in just a minute.
Let's run them. Yeah.
And what was before you saw them, first off, I know it was a big surprise that they just kind of dropped in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I know you're a fan of the show. Yeah. What was your first thoughts or your anticipation of season 3?
I mean, I hope and expect that it will go to the same unpredictable and crazy kind of places that season 2 did, because season 2 just felt like every episode and then the next episode and then the next episode introduced something new that you went, I kind of thought I had a sense of what was going on around here, and now I'm not sure if I do. And then you reposition your thoughts until next Sunday, and then something new happens again, and you go, wait a minute, ballerinas? What is happening here? Is this am I at the opera? Like, it just doesn't, it just kind of. So I'm hoping that there'll be more of that, because I love the layers that keep getting built on top of it. I mean, obviously there's the big question about, who's in that cart? Did someone die? Is there it could be a juke. I don't know. I don't know if you old guys are familiar with that expression.
Old guys.
What's a juke?
Where, the something gets put in the trailer that misleads you into thinking that
like a drunken guy
or whatever, like something that you watch the trailer. The classic is the first Talented Mr. Ripley movie with
yes.
I remember that trailer and watching the trailer and going, okay, psychological thriller. I think I have a sense of what this movie is going to be about. And then you watch the movie and realize that all those little snapshots in the trailer were very misleading out of context. And so I'm kind of hoping that there's a fair bit of that going on. That's interesting to me. I like to be misled, and I like to have my expectations kind of frustrated. I'm also not very smart. So, I like to think that it's somebody doing it to me instead of me just being slow.
Well, before we get to the trailer, I just want to pay one bill here. And I think you're in this. And this is our What Is From poster. I'm going to look and I'm going to see, and I'm going to feel really embarrassed.
I don't see Bob.
He's there. He's just behind Scott, I think.
That's right. There's his
no, the trailer's there. He's in the trailer to the right.
There he is, poking his face out.
And folks, we did a really great job working with Kirk Manley. And if you want, you can just go to our shop, which is Etsy shop at What Is From shop, and purchase one. Lizzie is waiting with bated breath to put them in an envelope and send them off to you. It's a limited edition, and it's only season 1. What we're going to do is, as soon as we kind of start we're going to do a season 2 and then hopefully season 3. So, Bob, there is hope for you to be in season 2. We might just put you in there regardless of the fact that you weren't there.
Again, a juke. The collector of the poster will go, wait a minute. And then that's it. You've done your job.
But, and I know we have some people on Instagram. I mean, on Instagram, on YouTube. So if you have any questions or theories or whatever it is you have, everything is on the table right now. So without further ado, let's watch the first of 2 trailers.
Love it.
All right. Ooh, that's good. Whoops. Nope. It would help if you press the right one.
Whoops.
Whoops. Hello.
I'm just having a lot
of.
of.
Oh, that was me. I pressed the wrong one. I had the wrong trailer.
It's the magic of life.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. Right?
I don't know either.
I think this is the right one.
It is the right one.
This place couldn't break you. That's what you said.
Well, the sound is messed up.
You're so strong. You're so strong.
So strong.
So good.
It just is.
Now, folks, what was your thoughts on that? Because it came on and you're like, what the hell did I just see? And you want to keep playing it over and over again because the big question, like you said, is who is in that wheelbarrow?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts, Lizzie?
I'm just leaning. I don't know. I have been rewatching, and the thing about those sneakers, more than one person is wearing that style sneaker. And because of that, it's hard to tell who is in that barrel. I was thinking Tabitha, that she fell off the tower, the lighthouse thing, and her body was left, but yet somehow she was also transported elsewhere. And maybe she was all mangled and that's what they're, walking back. But then I'm trying to think, like, who could it be? Maybe someone from the bus, like Marielle?
Maybe they're knocking on the door.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It was just my little 80s Men at Work reference.
Oh, Men at Work.
Right.
Knocking on the door.
That's a deep
cut. That's a very much of a deep cut. Let's just play it again. If you want me to stop at any time, we can. Okay, so we got feet.
Yeah. So those are the sneakers, and they're kind of like, they're not like an athletic sneaker. They're more like an everyday type thing.
Sure. I just know one thing. They're white and they're red, and the red is not good.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
that's bad.
Yeah. And both Boyd and Jade have blood on them. But it just, it's hard to tell from the bottom of a foot if it's a male or a female.
Don't you want to just take your finger and go, coochie, coochie, coochie?
Yeah.
Yeah, because chances are, movie magic being what it is, that's a live person in true life. And
that could be, yeah.
That person would, like, I got to play dead Frank Pratt.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You blew our mind when you said that.
Yeah.
Another thing is,
look, if someone had tickled me, I'm not a good enough actor that I would have not laughed.
Oh, don't you sell yourself short. Like, you're worse than that.
Yeah. Is it hard, like, when something like that happens and you're in character, is it hard to resist that sensation?
Which sensation?
If someone was tickling you and it wasn't part of the scene, Like someone was trying to break your concentration?
Oh yeah. No, that's a good question. I guess it depends on what it is. I mean, your mind can certainly go, it's not an objective universal thing. Like you can't really tickle yourself, right?
Right, right.
And so there is this sort of, sensory displacement thing that can happen. What I thought you were asking me though, which is not quite the same thing, but is interesting. Playing dead is probably one of the hardest things to do.
Really?
Honest. Oh yeah. Like it's really, you become so hypersensitive to your breath and what your body does when
Right.
you breathe, and also your eyes and how your eyes move even when they're closed, and all kinds of things. Like, and I've done it a number of times in a number of things, and sometimes mercifully the shot is short or the take is short, and you only have, but I've done other things where I've had to really kind of maintain it, and you just hope that the edit picks up something that works and you're not, but it's a real challenge. Like whoever's in this cart right now, whoever's foot we see, assuming it's a real human foot, they're probably pretty chill under there because all we see is but I don't know what goes on in the rest of the scene.
Now this is the interesting question. And I know Lizzie, you're on top of this. It'll be interesting, and I can't wait to talk to Liz and Nathan Simmons. How many days have passed since last season?
It's not that many.
It's not that many.
I'm on the last episode of season 1, and I think we're up to 7 or 8 days. So
since the beginning
beginning, yeah. So the first season, it is just barely 1 week since
your death
arrived.
To your point, Frank's death is still fresh.
Yeah.
To a point.
Although no one talks about him anymore. It's like
but I'm just saying, like, and I'm not trying to just bring it in. What I'm saying is, if all that other stuff wasn't happening, i.e., cicadas and ropes and all sorts of stuff, they would be talking about, how Frank went in the box. But let's. I mean, the stress level is through the roof right now.
Yeah, a lot of
like seeing that scene, like the first glimpse of that, and you knew, all right, someone's dead or really hurt. But then when you see the next scenes, you're like, maybe they're dead. Oh, and Mrs. Liu washed, I'm assuming Mrs. Liu washed Jade's shirt because he's wearing the kittens again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the kittens are always good. But even looking at these guys, I mean, this is some serious.
Look at Boyd. Like
Boyd's like bloody, and Jade is pissed and serious.
Yeah, and it looks like Boyd is injured on his upper arm too. Like that doesn't look like it's someone's blood. It looks like an injury.
Yeah. Again, we said this when we saw the trailer. Whose blood? Yours? Or his? I'm going to play it a little bit longer.
Yeah.
We don't know when this occurs relative to the end of the previous season, right? This could be
No, I'm going to find that out. We're going to get into
no. That could be a week in, another week for all we know.
Now, this guy to the right, we've got a couple of new monsters and some of the old favorites. This guy on the right, this professor type of guy, he seems, from what is going on, he might be a leader. He may not. He might be a conduit. And again, I've said this from the beginning. I think there's the people, there's the monsters, and they talked about another entity.
The puppet master.
Whatever that is. And we still haven't figured out what that is. Because the monsters are scared of something.
Yeah.
So,
I really like how over time they've managed to stay true to the ones that they've showed us, that it's the same people in the town, the same monsters over and over again. So we're not getting this revolving door of monsters.
There's only one that hasn't. There's only one that hasn't returned.
Yeah, but it's like a fixed, entity.
And it's funny. I mean, we talked about this before with you, Bob. The one monster everybody wants to talk about had 1-2 scenes, and we had her on, and she's just
She's a legend.
She hasn't returned yet.
Yeah, she is a legend.
I mean, maybe we'll get her back on here, but hopefully they can get her back on.
I've approached her, so I'm hoping that she says yes. Bob, you know her, right? Or you run in the same circles with Molly?
You're referring to Molly, eh? Yeah. I mean, I know who we know. Molly and I know each other. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just, we know from The Walking Dead that one character can really knock it out of the park with fans. And our YouTube video with her, it's the most popular one. It's the most watched one we have.
Right.
Like, it's incredible. Like, we did not expect that. And even when I've gone to her and I'm like, dude, like, this thing is still the most popular video, she's surprised.
Right. Yeah.
So at any rate,
Molly's great. Molly's great in everything. I mean, I've seen Molly in a whole bunch of different things, from sports to, we had a feature film that was shot here a number of years ago. This is going back a number of years. Local filmmaker Jason Eisner, who's gone on to do a fair bit of, kind of horror, and he's sort of a product of the VHS 80s, so to speak.
Yeah.
He made a film that starred Rutger Hauer, starring called Hobo with a Shotgun, and Molly played the lead really in that, and was, I mean, just unreal, just a great, and comes from a
I was going to say her dad is famous Canadian actor.
Yeah, that's right.
Funny, we were talking about it, and everybody in the chat for like the first month was, I remember her dad, but anyway.
But so she's just a huge talent in her own right, and we very proud of her, and she's just wonderful pretty much in everything she's in. So I'm not surprised that she just a great piece of casting for this show. She's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, on a separate note, I went up to Maine for a vacation recently, and we had to get back by Monday. And I'm like, Liz, I know the mayor of From, and he's a semi good friend of mine, and he might be able to help us out with a room or something. And if we can maybe finagle it, it's only like 10 hours away. I mean, it's just a mere 10 hours.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, I know Bob Mann. I mean, once I go to Canada, I don't even need a passport.
And it's so funny you say that, because I was in Maine. I went down to Portland about a month ago. My oldest daughter is in competitive dance, and there was a big competition down in Portland, so we drove down. And drive. I mean, I'd been down to Maine a couple of times for a few different things, but not in quite a number of years, and certainly not since I started doing this work. And driving through Maine, I was just sort of like, well, this is where this Stephen King kind of style of show and horror and stuff, this is where it lives. Like, even though it's filmed here, the whole time we were driving through kind of rural Maine on our way down to Portland, I was thinking, this is where all of this sort of comes from. This is the legacy of it. It was neat being down there and driving through and thinking about this show and some other similar types of shows and things like that. It was just neat to be situated.
So one of my good friends, who's also part of Picastica, she actually lives outside of Portland, and we were supposed to meet up. She wasn't feeling good. We went to this diner called Beckys, which is famous for the area, and huge. She has her own podcast. It's called Run for Your Lives, and the reason why I'm plugging it is, if you like scary stuff like From, they do all the other scary stuff that I don't do, because I'm a big chicken. And if I had known, you might have been able to get a room there, because she might have been able to hook me up. But anyway, back to the trailer.
No, I'm going to be honest. I'm very, very interested in this cowboy guy. Like, he really does seem like he's going to be an inch. And we've seen a couple, 2 or 3 of these monster characters engage. Whether it's Molly's character, or it's Jamie Maguire's character, or it's whoever. We've seen some of these creatures go beyond just being creatures and act.
Now, do you know these actors at all? Do you know any of these extras? That
No,
are
no, I can't say that I do, although I'd have to look closely. But
Okay.
you know, they really do seem to have an autonomy that
Right.
2 seasons in still hasn't been fully explored, right? Like
Right.
even Smiley really hasn't. Nobody has stepped forward and said, "Hey, let's have a parlay
Yeah.
Right.
about what's going on here." No relationship as of yet has been formed between the creatures and any of the people. And
Right.
this guy appears to maybe be the first example of that.
And he
but
was in season 2. He was in the beginning of season 2 when
Was
he
he?
knocked on the door with Fatima and
Ellis.
Ellis.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yes.
the thing that with all of the monsters, they all represent archetypes in a society.
Right.
And so like this guy is pretty interesting. It just makes me think he sells tires or something and like, like a tire warehouse, come on down, or like some kind of trading post or something. And that's why he's dressed like that. Because otherwise, is he like a kid show host?
Right.
Back in this, time era that they were all dressed in. Because that's kind of a look.
Yeah, they're dated archetypes though, right?
Yeah,
Like
very dated archetype.
Yeah, yeah. So there is definitely a consistency or a theme kind of going on there. It's
60s?
interesting.
60s, you think, or 50s?
Yeah, I'll tell you what it makes me think of. It makes me think of things like, you think about something like Galaxy Quest, or you think about something like Contact, or I remember Contact.
No, I
One of my
remember.
favorite
The
movies.
worst ending ever.
No, it's not.
Okay. It's debatable, right? It's we can fight about it, but
I mean, what I mean by that is, no, I mean, I love this. I love the movie. I'm thinking Grand Ole Opry, but whatever works for you.
Right.
Yeah.
But when I think about Contact and I think about, Galaxy Quest, one of the things that sort of pops into my head is one of the things that those two stories have in common is that there is a mirroring back to us. Let's call it us, people on Earth or people, outside of a certain realm. And the mirroring back is based on the depiction of ourselves on television or on film at a certain time. You remember when they decoded the message that the aliens in space were sending back, and they realized that it was Hitler speaking at the
1932 Olympics.
Yeah, and the whole idea was, well, this is a parroting back to us the first television signal that they got.
Yeah.
Right? Same thing, Galaxy Quest. It's like, well, once we encounter this alien race, they're like, oh no, we got your signals out in space, and so we know what you're all about. And it's the signals from this TV show. Like there is something, there is a unifying idea to all of these creatures, that they do seem not just like societal archetypes, but they almost appear to be television stereotypes from the 1950s or 60s, right? This cowboy guy, I mean, I'm not 100% convinced that in society at any point, I mean, maybe somewhere in the United States, that there was a lawman who walked around dressed like that. I mean, maybe there was, right? But we certainly know that there's a sugar.
I do that all the time, Bob. I just do that just because I can.
Sure. Yeah, well, absolutely. I believe that. Playing make 'em ups and dress up. Yeah, that's totally believable.
Make 'em ups. I haven't heard that since the last time you were on.
Yeah, that's mine.
Yes,
all right. Let's press on a little bit.
Yeah, let's see. I love that whole shot there.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
This one?
Yeah.
It gives you a good sense of, now this is from last season because you got the cicadas.
Oh yeah.
And then we've got, sorry, I like to show this because I just think it's kind of neat. We've got another character here, big boy.
Yeah.
Bob's big boy, and then you've got the other two watching. I think this guy right here is. I don't want to know. My bet is he's kind of a leader, but we'll see.
Or like, you know what? He's like a university dean.
Yeah.
You know.
But let's just just stop on this for a second and appreciate how game changing, in a sense, this image is.
Right, they're not eating them.
They're not killing. Right, there's something else. Again, there's this idea that we're now at the level where Boyd maybe is engaging in more typical good guy bad guy relations with these creatures, and I'm not sure what that represents, but he certainly at the end of season 2 broke through something. He solved something. He cracked a code at the end of season 2 that released who Randall and Julie and who was the other character, Christie's fiance, released them from their stupor, right? Like it's sort of the first example you see where the creatures get slipped a bit of a Mickey Finn or whoever. I mean, it's maybe not even the creatures, might be whatever force is behind all this stuff going on.
Hey Bob, I just want to post this. I posted just before. The Cowboys shirt doesn't have any holes from it when Boyd shot him.
Cool.
Is this a wardrobe error? We're gonna find out.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it just doesn't matter.
Maybe he's just got a really good cleaner that can stitch things up.
Right. Or are the outfits part of the creature's shape-shifting?
Oh, yes. Either that, maybe they have a whole off stage where, they go in every night and everything gets repaired because they're obviously he's not the first one to have been shot since we started watching this show.
Right. That's such a disarming idea of the concept that these creatures wake up at dusk or whatever it is, and then they go to their like little closet and they're like, I don't know if
the part is, they have this closet and they're all the same shirt.
I can't wear this again.
Another day out in the woods, Doug, and you're putting on your shirt and it's like, God, this one got holes in it. I gotta go. I only got one swap out left. What am I gonna do after this one's gone?
Back to the grind.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great shot right there.
What is that's different. I mean, although again, we saw from season 2 that the creatures also have a penchant for messing with people.
Yeah.
Like the whole like my pal Phoebe and the
I was just gonna say that. I was like, Phoebe Rex, like it just like what they put her through, like her character, not her.
Yeah, first off, they made a mistake by killing her.
Yeah, I think that they did. Oh my God. Or just even, I don't know if she was in more than just the 2 episodes, but I was going to ask you if you knew her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Almost everybody.
She was just outstanding. Yeah. Cause he's the mayor.
Phoebe again is one of our, and we have there's a feature film opening at our film fest next week that's highly anticipated, called To the Moon, and Phoebe plays a big role in that film.
I just want to post this. Susie Q is part of one of the other podcasts that also covers From. They do a lot with Quantum Leap as well. It's
I know Susie Q. I was on their podcast for Sullivan's Crossing. Yeah, for Sullivan's Crossing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
And I agree.
I still can't get that.
Yeah, I think. Oh, I think on the what would it be on?
Hulu. Like it's supposed to be on Hulu,
It's
but it's
Hulu,
not.
but it might be on the WB.
It's the WB.
CW.
CW. That's
anyway.
Right.
She says
WB
she thinks
doesn't
clothes were
exist
part of the
anymore.
evil.
The veil. I agree with Susie Q on this. I believe that the outfits, and this is in keeping with my thoughts about the creatures mirroring or parroting back to us an aesthetic that they've picked up from somewhere. And I think, I don't know, I think maybe that's a clue to when this this whole thing originated, right? If you imagine, and I'm not saying it's like, let's say, an alien race or something, but if you imagine, what's the movie with Natalie Portman? It's a really cool movie based on that series of books, Annihilation.
Yeah. Oh, that was
She was
so
also
good.
in another smaller one. I think it was called Star Wars, but
She was also in a little indie thing called Star Wars. But
Yeah.
Annihilation, you have this entity land in, where was it, Cape Cod? I don't know where.
Yeah, something like that.
But it kind of spreads out to the environment around it and starts interacting with the biology and cloning and changing what it's, and so then it basically is almost literally sometimes mirroring back to anything that wanders into that bubble, its manipulation of what it has found there and then at that time in that moment. And there might be something to that here, where it's like, whatever this thing is that they've found themselves caught inside of, it has shown up and it's gathered information that it had at the time in the moment and reconstructed it somehow.
We have another. I'm sorry, Lizzie. Yeah.
Now, this is going back to the clothing. Okay. So these guys are, I'm going mostly based off of the women, because it's easier for me to tell a time, like an era, from what they're wearing. And to me, it looks like mid to late 60s. Now, Victor shows up and he has his lunchbox from the 70s because it's disco. And Bob, I don't know. I don't know. I think you're younger than me, but I'm not sure.
Easily by decades, I think.
Yeah, like maybe 3 decades.
No.
But like the disco age was mid to late 70s.
Yeah.
Which would have been about 10 years after these styles. Now, if we go back to the staircase, the bottles with the years in them, we know that, or we can surmise that this has happened at different times. So if we're back in 1864 or 65, I forget which one it is. If we're back at that one, what are the monsters wearing? They certainly aren't wearing 60s styles.
No.
So they have to have different costumes. And then the thing is, to dive even deeper, if this has been going on through hundreds of years, this is something that's bigger than just this one time, or modern time, like someone creating this thing, that it suggests that there could be some sort of thing that has gone on for hundreds of years, maybe back until, the first people on the land showing up. And maybe it is the first people, descendants of the first people.
Possibly, it might also, I think that's a literalist, I think, kind of interpretation of what we're seeing. The other thing is that it could be whatever it is that they're doing is based on a kind of Americana.
Yeah.
And I think about, for example, when I remember the first time that sort of came to my mind watching it, it was like, well, what does all this have in common? Like, what does a Civil War soldier who appears have in common with like a milkman, or like, what is the common thread through all of this? And it does seem to be a certain kind of almost, in certain instances, a sort of Norman Rockwell-esque kind of depiction of Americana, and it goes to other places in history, but it does seem to be sort of drawn from a piece of fiction. And it makes me think about stuff like, Stephen King's Gunslinger series. Once you get into the latter, I don't know if you've read The Gunslinger, but you get into the latter portions of the series, and there's a relationship between the story that you're reading and Stephen King's larger universe of work.
Yes.
The story is, and the characters are engaging. It's almost like a meta fourth wall pullback, where it's like, oh, this story exists in the larger universe of Stephen King's work. And I'm not saying that's what's going on here, but that there might be some parallel there too. When I watch these things, I'm always thinking about, well, what could I glean from what I think is what the creator is trying to do in a bigger picture?
Yeah.
Like, surely it's not just the case that, that John is just trying to have fun with everybody and creating a mystery to be solved. Like, there's more. I like to think that there's something more bigger kind of at play, and that there will be there will be something to be said about this other than just what it was. Lost is an example of that, where it's full of mystery and it's a puzzle to be solved, but at the end of the day, it's saying something about something, and it's a bigger picture story, and in terms of where it lands. So I wonder about that. I'm very curious what you guys might think about that piece. But
so Bob, we have another question from the audience, but before we do that, I just wanted to say we're talking season 3 with Bob Mann, who played Frank. And again, if you want to hit that subscribe button, we're trying to get to 510 followers. But Bidley had another question. Jasmine's blood stain disappeared as well. I was wondering if Bob thinks it could be just an error, or would it be intentional? I think we kind of covered that, but
I don't know. I think for something like that, you're accusing wardrobe of not doing something, like, because with the script, I think. I thought you were frozen, Bob.
No, I'm just thinking.
With a script supervisor, they're going to notice that kind of thing.
It's such a fun thing in a way to, and I want to, before we talk about that question, I just want to say that I've had some moments in my quiet moments. I've thought about some of my prior appearances on this podcast with you lovely folks, where I've thought maybe I've been a little bit hard on people who have these interesting theories about things. And I've heard about those theories and I've gone, yeah, I know that there's not that much exactness to how a line gets read by an actor, let's say. And the actor doesn't even know which of their takes is going to get used in the edit and things like that. But, I've thought about that. And with this kind of show in particular, I've come to believe that there probably is room to go, oh no, I maybe set deck and props, and that there might be some bigger, some sort of macro planning around, okay, let's put these little Easter eggs in here, let's put some little things on the wall that people will pick up. There's something kind of escape room fun-ish about that. And I worry that maybe I've been a little bit too cranky about some of the more fun and wacky fan theories that bump up against what I understand to be the realities of making a show, like actually making it.
I have to deal with this on a podcast by podcast basis. With my partner next to me, because she thinks every single pen, every cup, if it's moved for 1 inch, it means that is the one piece of the puzzle that has been missing. So please, as much as you're trying to save your reputation, don't. I deal with this all day. And I love her.
Oh my God, Alex,
that doesn't mean I have to like her.
It's just a hell. It's just hell.
It is.
I feel so bad for you.
But when you read a novel, the writer has 100% control. I mean, Lizzie, right? The writer has 100% control over what the reader is exposed to, how they interpret it. Okay, maybe you don't have any control over that, but what you put in, what you leave out, what you say, if you've got Easter eggs or references that might give clues or whatever, you've got, you are the god of that universe. And if something's there, it's because you put it there. If it's not there, it's because you left it out. Whereas there's so many people involved in making a show and bringing it to life. The continuity demands of something like, we've got to make sure that, although they take it very, very seriously, like I really do believe that they do. And if there's a monster that had bullet holes in its shirt, and that the intention was for that to carry over because that consistency is important, that creature would have bullet holes in its shirt. I believe that in my heart. I don't think that there's necessarily a costume error there. My first instinct is that if you're seeing it, it's because they meant for it to be there, especially in a show like this.
Yeah. Like I it's a puzzle show. So it's like every frame, every word matters. Placement matters. So that's the whole thing. And like when you were talking about the Stephen King thing, I remember the first time I read that, I think it was a review of a book, one of his like book releases or whatever, and they were talking about how it connected to a couple other of his books. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't, like, I just checked out. I was like, I can't handle that. That's too much for me.
Yeah,
like,
it is a lot. Yeah. And
a huge conspiracy.
And a really good magician. It's partially a puzzle show, but I think it's also a magic trick show.
Oh,
where you can be easily misled into looking one way when the mechanics of what's making the trick work are happening in your periphery because you've been distracted, to look to the right of the magician instead of the left. And a really good magician will play with your expectations, know where your eyes are going to be drawn.
Yeah.
Have something else going on. And the great thing about a TV show is that some of that can happen off screen. Some of it can be implied. Things can happen that you don't see. And so there may be things that there are no frames to inspect, to tell you the secret. It may be something bigger and more broad than that. That's all I'll say about it.
I stopped at this next section just because we were talking about the bottles, and it's such the only other section after this is just Boyd. But so cool. This is kind of an important thing. This is where all the messages are.
Yeah.
And this is where Victor and goes.
Victor, oh my God, why Tabitha?
Tabitha, I know. It's like you've never podcasted on the show before.
I know, I've never seen it. I look at this and I'm like, wow, I want to do this to one of my trees in the backyard.
Hang bottles.
Hang bottles!
With messages.
That's terrifying.
It is terrifying. Oh my God, especially when the wind gets whipping down here. It'd be nothing but broken glass back there.
That's right. I wonder how none of these bottles get busted.
Yes. I wonder if they have to take them down and put them back up every time they shoot a scene there.
Oh, yeah. So. Although some of it might be I think so, but I think there's a possibility that some of that tree bottle stuff is done in studio.
Oh,
I don't know. I do know a lot of the interior stuff that you see is done in studio. It's not happening in the town. Although I personally can't say which parts are and which parts aren't. But I know that there's a fair bit of work done to try to preserve and contain what they're doing, from what I understand and from what I saw when I was there. But yeah, no, it's a cool, really, really cool set piece.
So guys, do you want to see the second trailer? That's a little bit.
Yes.
Refresh my memory.
Yes, absolutely. Refresh us.
Okay. And you're listening to our podcast. We're going to do season 3, second trailer. Here we go.
Snow.
Yeah.
You're safe.
Winter
is coming.
You did the only thing you could do. And you lost.
Who was wearing black pants?
We're still in this thing. But we have no idea what we're dealing with.
I love this.
Ugh. Our poor Kenny. Like this, I'm like, what the? Like, is that a Jamestown survivor?
Yeah.
Boyd, gratitude. Many things are changing here. I have to remember.
Remember what?
What's missing?
Nothing that I've been to is possible.
I think you're here for what's in the basement.
This is important.
This place will not break us.
I mean, those are creepy.
But the only way we go home is together.
Like, what?
Your friend, Bob.
Yeah, it's my pal Sarah. Yeah.
Oh, you know her?
Oh yeah.
No matter what this place throws at us, we're gonna find our way home.
Yeah, it's great.
I love that this is so like small town Halifax.
Yeah. It's interesting too. How are we back in this house? The house fell down.
That's not the house.
It's not?
That's the church.
No, where Jim is standing and the phone rings.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
No, that's
Kenny's.
Mrs. Lou's
Kenny's.
house.
Oh.
That's Mrs. Lou's house.
Oh.
This scares the crap. There's your other buddy.
You can't save them all.
She scares the crap out of me.
It's like, what the hell is going? Yeah, no, I know Sarah. Sarah and I have been a bunch of things together, and Nathan Simmons and I are pals, and we go back. And Eli, who plays young Victor.
Yeah.
Eli's great.
Yeah, I know Eli.
We talked to him a couple of times.
Yeah, it's a lot of. I would say it's probably one of. I mean, we've had a number of shows here that have provided some cool opportunities for local people, but I know that I think this show is probably one of the ones that really stands out for giving actors some really cool and meaty opportunities to do some interesting and different things instead of just. And I'm not casting aspersions on other shows. Other shows have been great, but to do certain people to do a little bit more than just man number 3 who talks to the person when they come to the checkout of the grocery store or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And again, those parts are important, but From has been different. It's been cool.
I will say, 2 things. One, as much as the strike is absolutely awful, I think it's actually been helping this show because they had to go into winter. That's first. The second thing is the problem with this show, not that it's a problem, is the kids are getting older faster than the show.
Right. And
that's a real problem because the boy in white should not be older, and he is. Time still passes. And Victor's, Eli is still growing. Yeah. And that's the only sad part about it. And I know this isn't the first show that's had this problem, but
it's a hard thing to get around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but the thing is, they can use that for the lore of this little town, that these kids continue to grow, relationships change, because we know that the relationship between the Matthews parents is improving. The whole Matthews family cohesion has increased. Like, they've healed from the death of the baby. But then you look at other relationships that have just fallen apart, like Sarah and her brother. Yeah. Like she just has devolved into insanity. Yeah. And then where you would think that Christy and Marielle would revel in being reunited, instead their old problems have followed them to this little town.
Absolutely.
So
they would, I think.
It's interesting how it's picking and choosing who gets better and who gets worse. Whereas Boyd and Ellis went through a really tough time, and they've come back and healed from that. Yeah. So it's interesting how this town is affecting different factions of it.
Yeah.
So,
although Mrs. Lou and Kenny seem tight.
Okay, so I want to show you this, Lizzie. You're not going to like this, but Bitley says,
"Don't you say anything about my Mrs. Lou. Get that off of there right now."
I'm not.
Don't even say it.
Love Liz. We love Liz.
I was
we love Liz, and we don't want her to not be on the show
Oh
because
my
she
god.
has had some of the most emotional scenes possible, and she could be one of the keys to getting out because she's the keeper of the back
room.
closet,
The back room.
room.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
But it's
Well-
not looking good for Mrs. Lou right now.
Although
No,
I
it's not
will say Susie said something I think really important there in her last comment about how the phone that you
Yeah.
see ringing, is the same one that rang in Kenny's dream. So
Yeah.
I can't recall if there are any moments like this in season 1, but season 2 definitely establishes a precedent for the viewer seeing things that are happening either in the mind of a character or in a sort of sleep state, Nightmare on Elm Street type thing. And so and really I think there might be some. I think maybe this is debunked a little bit by the newest trailer, the one we just watched, but the possibility that Tabitha is just out.
Out of
No,
it.
she's not out.
Yeah.
There's no way.
I don't mean out of from. I mean out cold,
Oh yeah, okay.
right?
Yeah.
And that we might see Tabitha out cold, and they may find her and bring her back to the town and not know. She may not be dead. She may just be unconscious. But that there's a whole experience that Tabitha is having unconsciously that we see playing out, not unlike Elgin in the bathtub, or unlike, that these different characters that are. Boyd has quite a number of visions in season 2 that appeared and seemed to him to be quite real, but turn out to be maybe something else. We don't know. So the trailer may be littered with shots of things that are not
relevant. Yeah.
happening. Yeah.
Or in the right place.
I swear to God, if they kill my Mrs. Lou, I don't even know. I won't even be able to be held accountable for my reactions.
You're not going to do nothing. You're going to keep watching, and
you're wrong, Bob. You're
going
wrong.
to take what the show gives you, and that's how it's going to work. We all know this. That's how it's going to go.
So just so you know, to make your feelings worse,
it's out of the sneakers and out of white bottoms. I mean, it might just be a person.
It could be.
It might not even be. It might be an extra.
Yeah,
it could be a red shirt, right?
It might be an extra. Someone we don't even know.
Yeah, Boyd messed something up or tried to protect. I mean, you do see these scenes where Boyd is tussling with the creatures. Maybe there's some collateral damage, or someone gets taken out, and it's not. It's not a big character, but it may just be somebody else. We don't know. Like we haven't seen the bottom of everybody's feet. That's
yeah.
There is a new character though.
Oh yeah.
It's a police officer, security.
Yes, I keep forgetting about her.
Huh.
Oh my gosh. Like, is she the last player to show up in this game?
Nobody knew showed up.
Or did she
Nobody knew showed up. Nobody knew showed up before the end of season 2, right?
No.
Just the boss at the beginning, and then.
Yeah, that was it.
Right.
Well, we got a couple of different things I want to show you. I just want to get to them.
Yeah, give us some, blow our minds.
Okay, so for those of you that like The Walking Dead, we've got the heads on or bodies in wood on sticks.
Terrible.
Or if you're into Planet of the Apes, they had the big X's for the Forbidden Zone. That could be also it. And we have that, which is kind of weird. We have the guy drinking the blood.
But I think that is just Jade hallucinating. I don't know that guy's there.
Oh yeah, so she appears real and she's new.
Yeah.
And she's trying to use a gun, which is useless.
Right. So she's a noob, so to speak.
I mean, she's not even thinking about having to account for the bullets she uses to, her
waste
boss.
And Fatima is coughing up a
She's
lung.
pulling out a tooth. I think she's losing a tooth.
I don't know what she's doing.
I mean, look at her fingers; they're bloody.
Yeah, she pulls
She
something
might
out.
be- yeah, I think it's a tooth.
Here, I'll
What
show you.
baby tooth?
Okay, wait. I'll go back.
Wait a minute. And the guy has Jade by the collar.
Am I losing my mind here? Does the guy who has Jade by the collar look like he's wearing Tom's clothes?
It's the guy that was drinking out of the skull, but I see what you mean.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because
Show us the guy who's drinking out of the skull again. When does that happen?
was that in the last one or this one?
No, it's in this one for sure. It's back near the beginning.
Sorry. Oh, there we go.
There he is.
Yeah, he's got the beard.
Yeah, because look, there's the vest with the sleeves coming out.
He's got the weird pantaloons, and he's got the old timey tie, and he looks like he's from the late 1700s. Like maybe he's he's like,
that's exactly what I said, Bob.
He's Alexander Hamilton.
You know what? He's almost dressed like the angel in It's a Wonderful Life.
Sure.
Also, just to make Lizzie feel even worse.
Yes. Shut up.
Yeah, parallel. Yeah. Thanks, Bitey. Yeah, that's exactly what they would do there.
Oh my God. No.
Terrible.
Stop it. Stop it. No. No. She cannot die. She cannot die.
Anyone can die. Anything goes.
No.
Anyone can die.
No, I refuse that. See, that's her sitting right there in the mustard colored jacket on the right. See,
it's winter. It's winter.
Okay,
This might not
first
be
off, I love you to death, Lizzie. I think you're smoking crack. That woman is too big to be Mrs. Lou.
right.
And why would she not be next to Kenny?
Where's Kenny?
In the front row, right here.
You think? But maybe
maybe
because she showed up late.
Yeah, okay. She was making tea.
But who's the one in the Daryl looking poncho thing on the right? Who is that?
Right there?
No, on the Daryl looking poncho.
That's Christy.
Looks like Christy.
You've got Donna, Christy, Jade. Somebody's next to him. You got Tilly. This is the boy.
Ethan.
Yep, Ethan. And
Jim.
That's the whole Matthews. Well,
Jim.
Who's ever left of the Matthews family. I can't zoom into this right now. But yeah, the gang's all there.
Maybe it's just Christmas mass.
What if they hallucinate Father Cautry like they all hallucinate Father Cautry?
Yeah, that's a good way of.
Maybe.
Yeah, I know. The plate on the altar is the key. I just can't zoom in on it.
Ay, damn it! I think that's the same plate that's on whatever altar it is at the house where she is mourning Mr. Lou.
Yeah, that's it. We figured it out. I'm sorry.
Okay, guys, podcast. The show's over. We figured it all out. That's the end of this.
Yeah.
Damn it! Damn it to the pits of hell. I am telling you, no.
Very important.
It could just be a dream. It could just be a dream.
Could be a dream.
Or it could be
a juke. Or it's a juke.
It's a juke. That's exactly it.
It's meant to mislead us.
So, Bitly, thank you so much for making my life a living hell. It has nothing to do with the fact that you burst that bubble. Now I'm going to be getting phone calls and texts. Why did they do that?
Yeah.
It is. You know what, Alex? You lobbied for this. I know you did this to me.
Somebody had to die. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. Some major character had to die.
Oh, you know what? There are a few people I'd be okay with.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, and that's the problem.
That's harsh.
It is harsh, but to make the story better, you have to have some buy-in that way.
Yeah.
So
I'm not okay with this.
I'm not
probably
okay
do.
either, but it's the reality.
I don't think anybody died in season 2. Who died in season 2?
Well, Abby. Oh, wait a minute. Season 2.
No, Smiley.
That doesn't
That
count.
was it.
We've had this conversation about Smiley. Smiley's not a character. Smiley's a force of nature. Like,
Okay,
Yeah.
first off, I love this part of it just
What?
because of one reason. It's like, dude, you didn't think this was real? Well, now go for Tom. Tom
Oh,
died.
yeah. Oh, Tom. Of
Come
course.
on, he's your buddy.
Yeah,
He's your
Reed.
King of
Yes.
Bronze buddy. Come
That's
on.
right. Well, I'm gonna if that gets back, I'm gonna hear about this.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm gonna have to make a clip just to put it on Instagram, just to tag him.
Yeah. I've earned it.
You've earned it.
That one.
No, but I love this. I just want to play this for a second. He's like, what is going on? Wait. They go back to it, and it's
You
like,
can't save them all.
I guess I missed it. But I think that line is going to be really important. You can't save them all.
Save them all.
Because
I-
that's the thing.
That is Boyd's big problem. He fixes everything. He fixes everything. He
Well,
has
it's
to.
pillows and fishes.
But
Yeah.
up until this point, that's been sort of Boyd's issue with himself.
Right.
And it's a carryover from his losing his wife. And he clearly has this, you've got these, classic sort of characters who have this sort of everything is resting on my shoulders. And
Yep.
okay, that's great. That's fine. It does seem like there's a tone change in this season where the creatures have gotten live to that, and they're acknowledging Boyd's role and self-appointment as the sheriff and the leader of these people, and
Savior.
Sounds like they're goading him a little bit. They're like, "Oh, you're the guy? Oh, okay. Well, let's
show you how you're not."
Yeah, let's see about that, right? Which
Yeah.
I can only imagine is sort of incited by the moment where he he infects Smiley.
Yeah.
It's the only moment we've seen where a character takes on one of those creatures directly and kind of gets the upper hand literally over them. And so it's there's something to that. That's those are the
Do you think Smiley's going to come back at all?
I don't know. I'm going to say that I don't know.
No, I'm just saying no. I don't. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that your prediction? You don't know, or you're just trying to?
Well, I don't know. I think it would be interesting if here's what I'll say. If they bring Smiley back, I hope that it's in a vision or a flashback.
I don't know.
That's my hope, because I think I've said this before. I think I've said it in conversations about whether Frank should come back. I think it's nice to see a performer or a character. I liked it in season 2. I liked seeing Reed again. I liked seeing Sean Majumder on screen again. I liked seeing them come back. But for me, it's important for our establishment of what this world is about and what happens. The stakes suddenly become very different when someone can literally come back to life.
I love how they're bringing Sean back.
Yeah. I have no real issue with that. I think that's fine. But it's kind of like what happens in I don't know, I'm going to say comic books, but it's kind of like what happens in comic books when a character gets resurrected.
Mm-hmm.
It changes the stakes. You go, oh, someone can die and maybe they don't stay dead.
But they're not alive. I think if they brought him back, it would give them a sense of hopelessness in that they can't take down the numbers of the monsters. They just regenerate back into that.
It would certainly do that. It would be a new piece of information that it would be a new piece of information that I personally find a little bit less interesting. Like if there's, let's put it this way, if there is finality to the monsters, if the monsters can die and they can be killed, then suddenly the script has changed for them.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a real, so it's not like a vampire thing. Let's look at The Walking Dead. I mean, the creatures in The Walking Dead don't seem to be driven by a desperate need for self-preservation. They're not defensive in that way. They're just trying to find human flesh to tear apart. That's all.
Right.
That's all they're trying to do. They don't
Right.
build barricades. They don't go on the offensive strategically. They're just a herd of killing things, right?
Yeah.
And they don't ever seem to be all that bothered by the fact that they can have their heads chopped off and be killed. They're more like animals. Whereas these creatures seem to be something different.
Yeah.
And so I like to think, for example, that Smiley being taken out would be a really, really big deal for these creatures.
Well,
but it didn't seem to be.
Oh shit! Like, this guy has figured out how to take somebody out. This is a big deal. Like, to me that changes the game of the show in a more interesting way than just saying, "Oh, hey, guess what, guys? You can't kill us. We're back." It's
Yeah.
like
he's waiting for Fatima to give birth to James.
Yeah,
That's awesome. And then we do have another question for you, Bob. Since you were on the show, did you wake up in your own bed after the monsters got you?
Yeah, I don't know. I only know, I'm going to take the question seriously, although I think it's a bit tongue in cheek. There's no script. There's no page of script that says, and then Frank Pratt wakes up in his bed back in the world alive in his old life. There's no moment, right? I am as in the dark as the viewer is as to what actually happens to people in this world. I don't know.
Well, Harold's got his new campaign with that new bourbon. So I'm telling you right now, I got to get me some, because I think that this is going to be crazy, 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 because we're going to be.
You got to start drinking.
I don't drink, but I think we should start.
Yeah.
We're at the top of the hour, young lady.
Yeah. Right. Bob?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you wanted to say something.
No, I said that's right. We're at the top of the hour. I don't know what your time constraints are, but
well, we're not going to take advantage of you this time.
Not this
again.
time.
Not this time. So, Bob, what is it that you're working on? What have you got going on for yourself?
A number of things. So our local film festival starts next week. And I'm in a number of projects. I'm in a live script reading a week from tomorrow with a group of other actors, and we're doing a number of scenes from rom-coms from the 90s, things like that.
Oh, that sounds fun.
You've got Mail, When Harry Met Sally, The Birdcage. We're doing a bunch of them. So that's going to be a fun, silly thing. I'm in a short film that's debuting a week from tonight called Gaslit, which is kind of a horror comedy thing, and I think I posted the trailer for that, so you can see that on my Instagram. And I'm in a feature film that debuts next week at our film festival called Sharp Corner, which is has a bunch of local people, including Reed and a bunch of other people who you'll know, some people from the From universe and some others, which is going to be a really cool movie. Working on a variety show thing for Bell. I've got a number of stand-up comedy dates coming up in the next month, and a whole bunch of stuff, bunch of things.
Yeah, you're always busy. Like you're always posting, like you're here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, you got to stay busy or you get in trouble. That's how. And then you gotta stay in smokes, which is what we say in the old country. You gotta figure out a way to stay in cigarettes. So you just gotta keep working, keep doing stuff.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. If you stop, you die.
Yeah, that's right. So
well,
a whole bunch of things.
That's awesome, Bob.
I know. I'm like really upset that I couldn't come and see you in Halifax so I could get the descent tour.
Next time you're through, if you're close enough, just swing up and I'll take you on the tour.
I know. I I heard the gift shop is really good.
The one gift shop we have here in Halifax is just, it's fantastic. Yeah. We have one guy that stands out next to
He
us.
just stands there. Well,
Yeah.
folks, I want to thank Bob along with Lizzie because we are gearing up. We've got Donna, aka Liz Saunders, the award-winning, amazing Queen of From. Tomorrow
So great.
is Saturday. What day? What's today?
Saturday the 8th.
Today's
Yeah.
Friday.
At
Tomorrow.
11 a.m. So we're having donuts with Donna.
Yep.
And then we're going to also work with Bob, one of Bob's other friends, Nathan Simmons.
He's on the 8th.
Tell Simmons I said, hey, smarten up.
Yeah, smarten up.
Just no context. Don't tell him what I meant by that. Just tell him.
I don't even know. So it's great.
Yeah.
We will definitely tell him to smarten up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I keep cutting you off.
Yeah, we have Sean Majender coming end of next week, and then Liz Moy the day before the debut. So, and we're still working on others. So we're hoping to have a really great leading up to the premiere week.
It's going to be exciting.
And whenever you want to come back, hopefully you can do our end of season wrap up.
Yeah.
Get some of your other buddies to come on with you, and we can have a super duper round.
That'd be great. That'd be so fun.
I love that you do this with us, Bob. I just love this.
It's super fun. I love it. I love how it's such a neat little community is built up around this show, and people here appreciate it, and the show, people involved in making the show appreciate it. And in this day and age, with there being so many shows and so many things to watch, and the landscape being so scattered and so wide, any show that has a following and has people who love it and watch it and talk about it is to be greatly appreciated. And so, and I think most people, pretty much everybody involved kind of feels that way. Very grateful to be involved in a show that people have gotten excited about. They really enjoy talking about it. And you guys are a big part of that.
Yeah. Well, that's so nice. Like, I'm excited that we have made it to season 3. After looking at those trailers, they would really have to drop the ball to screw up season 3. And I'm grateful to MGM for giving them, these legs to run on, because this show, it is truly the most amazing show that nobody is watching. And Alex,
well, a lot of people are, right? A lot of people are watching.
They are now.
That's kind of the point.
Growing, Like I'm excited to see what happens with season 3 and viewership. But Alex and I, this has just been such a privilege for us to talk about this show and get so involved. And our first season, we had our Victor drawing contest, and I think we had 6 drawings. And then this last season, I believe for season 2, we had 12. So now I'm wondering what season 3 is going to be like when we do our contest. But we are running out of lunch boxes. That much I can tell you. So, yeah. Oh, and we can't hear you, Alex.
Before we go, I have to unmute. And I just wanted to say we're about 3 away from 500 followers.
Let's go.
Let's go.
It's a follower drive, everybody. It's a follower drive.
Yeah.
And if you want to support the podcast, and really, how can you not want to? We do have our poster, our tribute poster to season 1. Bob Mann is in the trailer.
In the box.
We made sure.
In the box.
And we made sure that Kirk put you in there. I did talk to your daughter. She was very upset that she wasn't on doing her prayers. She actually messaged me. She's like, "You're missing me." I'm like, "I am missing you, but we can only so many people."
Kids so entitled these days.
I'm telling you,
I know. But just a few words about this. Kirk Manley is this incredibly talented artist.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And this is the first poster. It is one of a kind. And we are getting low in numbers on them. So if you want them, you just have to go to Etsy and just find the What Is From shop, and you can get one. I'll mail it out this week if you order it very soon.
Very cool.
Yes. So that said, Bob, we want to thank you so much. As usual, you don't disappoint. You always give us a piece of From that we didn't understand. And we will see you
See you in a few months, where we're talking about how we just can't believe that the whole show has happened inside of a snow globe.
Yeah, don't even say
don't even say that.
So shocked. We'll be like, wow, where did that come from? That's what
we're not doing St. Elsewhere, baby. See you next time.
See you next time, guys.
Get you home. Let's go. Come on, get in your house. Let's go. Come on.